Hi guys, welcome to this very important video on recursion in JavaScript. Recursion is considered as one of the most difficult topic to understand and learn, but at the same time it is very important topic. I will be going through different examples to teach you recursion, how to write code in recursion. There are a lot of problems that we need to solve using recursions, which is very hard and require long code to solve those problems without recursion. I don't want to dive deep into the theory of the recursion. In short word, recursion means a function which calls itself from its own body. It's called a recursion. If you have already learned what is if-else statement, how to write loops, nested loops, I've already created a video on solving different programming problems using JavaScript. Check out my video, which I've given the link of in the description of this video. On the right side, I have shown you all the videos which I have created in JavaScript, building quiz application, building snake game, building a CRUD application using object-oriented programming, and also callbacks, promises, and async await. I run into a lot of problems when I use recursion to solve my problems when I use the callbacks, promises, or async await. Now let's talk about some practical examples of recursion. These are the 6 questions which I have written down, which I'll be solving using recursion. Okay, so the first problem is that we need to print numbers from 5 to 1 using recursion. One thing to understand that all the problems which can be solved using loops and nested loops can be solved using recursion, but there are some problems, the complex algorithms that are written in graphs, trees, arrays, or objects. All those problems can be solved without recursion as well, but recursion actually helps us write less code to solve such kind of large complex algorithms. Okay, so that's why recursion and understanding it is very important thing. So in VS Code, I've created this new file recursion.js, and in this file I'll be solving problems which I've written over here. So I need to create a function first. As I've explained you that the function which calls itself is called recursion, so creating a function is necessary in order to implement recursion. So first question is we need to print the numbers from n down to 1. So I'll create a new function and I will name it print numbers. Okay, and it's going to take n as a parameter. N means it can take any integer value, 5, 10, 15. We need to take that number and print the numbers down to 1. Okay, so it can be solved using loops, but this example is to understand how to write recursion, and this is the easiest example to understand recursion. I'll move forward and solve the other a bit complex problems using recursion as well. Okay, so the recursion include two parts. One is the base case, other is the general case. Base case means that when this function calling from inside should stop, and the general case is that we want to call this function from inside its own body and keep on calling this function until and unless the base case is not met. Okay, so first of all, base case can be defined using if statements. So the if statement means that if n equals to 0, then simply return nothing. Okay, and this condition should be true, and return nothing means that the calling of this function from inside its own body should be stopped using this base case. Means when this condition gets true, then simply stop the execution of this program, means calling this function from inside. Okay, and after the if condition, I can first log this n which I have passed to this function, and below this I'll be calling this function. So I will be writing print numbers, and then I will be passing n minus 1. Okay, so let's call this function initially from outside as well one time. So I will be I don't need to log it actually, so I'll be calling the print numbers, and what would be the initial value I want to pass to it. So I want to pass the 10, let's say. And what happens is I will first run it, and I will explain you and going through and dry run this function how the recursion is working actually behind the scenes. Okay, so I'll bring up my terminal of VS Code and I will write node recursion.js. Okay, now you can see that it has printed 10 down to 1. Okay, so the way it's working is it's actually calling this function, and once it's getting called, this is going to be checked. It's not true because 10 is not equals to 0. Then the 10 is going to get printed, and then this function is going to get called from inside. and this is going to decrement the value of n by 1, means that whenever this function is going to get called, this function is going to receive 9 next time. Okay, and then when it's going to receive 9 and this condition is not true, again the 9 gets printed, and the next time this is going to call this function again, it will become 9 minus 1, which it means that this function is going to receive 8 in this parameter n. Okay, and this condition is going to get checked, and it's keep on calling itself until and unless this becomes 0, and 0 equals to 0 becomes true, and it returns nothing from it, and then it will stop calling itself from inside. So this is the base case, and then we can have an else statement as well, in which we could have written these lines. And else statement is usually called the general case. Okay, so I will be explaining you by drawing on my drawing pad. This is a very simple example, but the next example is very interesting, and when I will solve this next problem, I will dry run the code using a paint brush key and explain you how the recursion is actually working behind the scenes. So for this small simple problem, I hope that you have understood how the recursion works. So let's try to solve the next problem, and this problem explains that we have cats and each cat have two eyes. We need to create a function and pass the number of cats to that function, and that function should return the total number of eyes all cats have. It's very easy example, and you will never use recursion to solve this problem, because we will be just multiplying the number of cats by 2 and it will give us a result. But it is a very good example to understand recursion actually. Okay, so let's go to this file, and I will comment this code which I've written before and try to solve these problems of cat. Okay, so first of all, I will be creating a function. So I will be naming it total eyes. Okay, and number of cats. Okay, so in this function, first of all, what I need to do is I need to define the base case. So what would be the base case? If number of cats equals to 0, then I'm going to return 0. It means that if the cats does not exist, there are no eyes for those cats. So here I will just be returning 0, and else I will be returning, and I will be calling that total eyes function, and I will pass the total number of cats by 1. Okay, but along with this I will be multiplying it by 2 because each cat have two eyes. Okay, I will be dry running this code on my paint using the brush code, so don't get confused. Let's try to solve this and print out the results. So outside 8 I will take the total cat eyes equals to total eyes, and I will pass the number of cats to it, let's say 6. Okay, and then let's try to print out the total cat eyes. I'm going to save this file. Let's try to run it in my terminal, and it has actually printed 0. Let's see what happened here. So it's not actually multiplication, it's the plus actually. Okay, so let's try to run this now. So you can see that the 6 multiplied by 2 equals to 12, and our result is correct. Now let's go ahead on our paint and try to dry run our code. So I have my paint opened up on the right side of this window. So let's say that we have this function, and here we have called this function 2 plus total eyes number of cats. Okay, but first of all we called this function total eyes. So the total eyes is going to I'm just going to trying to explain you. So total eyes is going to receive 6 at the start. Okay, so what happens is it's going to take 6, and then this function is going to get called by itself from here on the line number 14. So what happens is it will be called and plus 2, and this function is going to get called again by decrementing the value of number of cats. Okay, so currently the number of cats were 6, and it will pass 5 to it. Okay, and then once it will be called again, it will execute this function again, and it will be 2 plus and then the total number of function, and it will give 4 over here. So let's try to do it until and unless this base case gets true. So this is the function and it will become 3. Let's try to get 2 plus, and then this is the function, it will become 2, and then 2 plus function, it will become 1, and then again it will become 2 plus, and then the function, it will become 0. Okay, and when it will become 0 on the left side, you can see that this base case is going to get true because number of cats are 0 being passed from here to this function. When this base case gets true, it will return 0, means that this function is going to receive 0 and it is going to take 0, and it means that the 2 plus 0 will be the result of this statement. Okay, and then the 2 plus 0 was called actually because of this function. It means that this function is going to receive the value 2 because 2 plus 0 equals to 2. So it will receive 2. So it will become 2 plus 2. Okay, and then it will become 4 actually, and the 4 will be given back to this function which called this function from inside. So it will become 4. So 4, which is equals plus 2, and it is going to be equal to this. Okay, and this is going to be 6, and this function was called by this function. Okay, and it will receive 6. So it means that the 2 plus 6 equals to this whole thing. So 2 plus 6 equals to 8, and then 2 plus 8 equals to 10. It means that it will go over here and it will be received 10 here. Okay, and then 2 plus 10 equals to 12, and this 12 is going to be passed to this function, and you can see that this function is actually being called from here in our code. So it is going to give the 12 to this total cat's eye, and total cat's eye is printing 12 over here. I hope that you have understood this dry run of how recursion. So it means that this function is going to get called itself again and again, and whenever the base case gets true, it will revert back again and again as much time as this function was called from inside. So now let's try to solve this third problem. We need to actually find the power, means that to the function we need to pass the base and the exponent. Okay, so here I will start off creating the power function, and it will receive a base and it will receive an exponent. Okay, let's try to find the base case. So I will start off with exponent equals to 0. When exponent will become 0, then I will be actually returning 1. Okay, and let's try to fill up the general case now. So I will write the else, and it's going to return base multiply by power base exponent minus 1. Okay, and then I will be actually receiving the final result of each time it's going to call this function, and when this base case gets true, it's going to revert back as much number of time this function is called from inside, as I've already explained you in the previous example. Okay, so power equals to, let's say 3 and 5. 3 is the base, 5 is the exponent, and let's try to log console log and then the results. Okay, let's save this file, let's try to run in the terminal, and you can see that this is the result which is correct. Okay, so basically what's happening is I'm actually multiplying the base. I'm not changing the base value, which is 3, and the 3 is being multiplied with first time 5. Okay, and the next time the 3 is being multiplied with the final result of the previous call, and then it becomes 4, then it will become 3, to 1 and it will become 0, then it will return 1 at the end, because multiplying the final result of this statement by 1, it will remain same. So that's why I've returned 1. I could have returned 0, but any number multiplication by 0 will become 0 actually. I hope that you have understood how the logic of this program is working using recursion. So up till now, if you have got some idea how the recursion works, don't forget to subscribe my channel and like this video. So next problem we have is the factorial. Factorial means that we need to pass an integer value to a function and it needs to multiply it with the lower values of it until and unless ones arrive. So it means that if the 5 is passed to that function, we need to find the result 5 multiplied by 4, multiplied by 3, multiplied by 2 and multiplied by 1. So we need to perform this logic for finding the factorial for the number 5 using recursion. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up this file and I'm going to comment the previous code. And inside it, first of all, let's create a factorial function and it's going to take the n. And let's try to find out the base case, and the base case is when n is equals to 0, or we can actually give the 1 to it actually. Okay, so when it will become 1, then we are just going to return 1 from here. Okay, else we will be actually returning n multiplied by factorial n minus 1. All right, so I hope that you have got an idea what's happening here. So let's try to print the result actually. So console.log factorial and try to find the 3 factorial. So it should return 6 actually, because 3 multiplied by 2 equals to 6 and 6 multiplied by 1 is equals to 6 actually. So now you can see that it has printed 6. Now let's try to find the factorial of 5. And it is 20, it is correct. So this is how we have written and solved the problem of factorial using recursion. Next problem we have is this. We have n number of laptops named with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. So it means that there are n number of laptops which we will be passing to that function, and each laptop is labeled with 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Okay, and then laptop with even numbers have 2 speakers and laptop with odd numbers have 1 speaker. Pass the total number of laptop to the function, return total number of speakers it has. Okay, so these problems I have included because I wanted to show you that we can have multiple base cases and multiple function calls from inside using recursion. Okay, so here I'll be creating a new function. So I will be writing the total speakers and then it's going to take the number of laptops. The base case is going to be n equals to 1 and it's going to return 1 actually. Okay, because it is an odd number and we have this problem that if the odd number exists, it will have a 1 speaker. Okay, so it will automatically be returning 1 if the number of laptops are 1, means that it has a label 1 on it. So I'm going to find else, and here I'm going to check if the n is an even number or not. So it is going to be n mod 2 equals to 0. It is an even number, else it is an odd number. Okay, and if it is an even number, we need to actually return 2 speakers. So we can actually write 2 multiply, actually it's a plus. So total speakers n minus 1. If it is not even, it means odd, then we can actually return and plus it by 1 here. So total speakers n minus 1. Okay, so this example actually showing you we can call the same function from inside multiple times whenever we want, and again we can have multiple if else if statements as a base cases for the recursion as well. Okay, so now let's try to print this out, and I'm going to log the total speakers and pass the 10 to it. Okay, so let's try to run this, and it has actually printed undefined. Let's see what's wrong. So we have forgot to return from here. Okay, so let's save it, let's run this file, and you can see it has printed 15. It's a long number. Let's try to enter 5 here, then I will dry run this actually. So it has printed 7. So 5 means that 1 has equals to 1 speaker. Okay, uh, laptop with label 2 is going to have 2 speakers. Okay, and then a laptop with label 3 is going to have a 1 speaker because it is an odd number, and then laptop with 4 is going to have a 2 speakers, and then the laptop with 5 is going to have a 1 speaker. So let's see, 1 plus 2 3, 4 5 6 7. So it has returned the correct result, and it means that our logic is working fine with this multiple calling of function from inside. We have this last problem now. It says that send an integer number to a function and count the digit 5 exists in that number using recursion in JavaScript. So it means that if we pass any number to the function, we need to print out the total number of times the digit 5 exists in that number. Make sure and understand that this is an integer being passed to that function, and we need to fetch out a particular digit which is 5, and currently it should return 2 actually, because 5 is actually existing 2 times in this integer number. All right, so let's try to go ahead and solve this problem here, and I'm going to comment out this code which I've written before. Let's try to create a new function, and this function I'm going to name it count digit 5. So count digit 5 here. Okay, and it's going to take the number, and first of all, if the number is equals to 0, I'm going to return 0, else, and inside the else I'm going to first find out the last digit. So last digit is going to be taken from the number, this one, and divided by 10. So this is the mod, and this is going to return us the last digit. It means that if we have this number and the number mod 10, it means that it is going to give us the 4 because 4 is the last digit. Okay, and if we write something like the number divided by 10, it is going to give us the number excluding this 4. So this statement is going to give us the number 2323, and this mod actually gives us the last digit over here. Okay, so then we have found actually the last digit. We will be actually checking with the last digit that if the last digit is 5 or not, and according to that we will be incrementing our total count. Okay, so here in the else statement I can have another if statement. So I can actually check if the last digit equals to 5, then I will be returning it by 1 plus. Okay, else if it is not equals to 5, I will be returning with the 0 plus actually. Okay, so 1 plus means that we need to call that function count digit 5, and then I will be actually calling and converting excluding the last digit number, and I will be passing this function the updated number which will be equals to the digit or a total number excluding the last digit. Okay, but it's always a good practice to actually use some conversion. So I'll be using the math floor and then the number divided by 10. Okay, so it's going to pass this function as I've explained you, this one 2323 excluding 4, and at the end when this whole process is going to get finished, this is not going to take anything and it will become 0, which will be passed over here. All right, and again let's copy this line and paste over here, and it will not be changed anymore. All right, so I think we are done with this logic. Let's try to log this out, console.log, and then I will be calling the total count, and let's pass any number to it. Okay, let's save it. Let's run this file, and there is an error. Number is not defined actually. So this is the number and this number is not defined. Which line is it? So we have this count digit. Actually we have written this thing. Let's run again. Now you can see that it has printed 2, so it is correct, means that 5 exists 2 times in this number. Okay, let's try to not add 5 digit in this number, so it should print 0. Yes, it has printed 0. It means that this was executing 3 times because the total number of digits exists 3 times in it. Let's try to add 5 6 times to this total number. Okay, so I'm going to add 6. You can see that it has printed 6. So our logic is working fine using recursion. Alright guys, so we have completed solving all of these problems using recursion. I hope that you have understood how recursion work behind the scenes and how you can build up the logic using the base case and the general cases of the recursion. If you have liked my video, don't forget to subscribe my channel, hit the like button, comment below if you have any question. Thank you so much for watching guys. See you in the next video.